Hi guys, happy Friday. Ken Smith Fishing. So this is the last in the series of my time I got to spend with Rick Pierce at Bass Cat Boats when we went up to pick up the boat. So we're going to cover a few things here today, and then come early next week, you guys have already seen the boat, but you're going to see my reaction the first time I see the boat, and then we do a factory tour, which I think is pretty cool. So Rick Pierce today, factory tour next week, some other stuff coming next week I think you guys will enjoy. So let's jump right to our footage with Rick here. On my brand X and Y's, which everybody knows what my last two boats were, model wise or maker wise, one of my pet peeves is rub rail issues, and the screws under the rub rails backing out, so I get that bulge, and now I got to pull that rub rail off and get that thing and push it back in there. And I'll be, guys, look, I've said it, right? With my Skeeter, I had fits with it. I couldn't keep a rub rail on it. That was one of my biggest pet peeves about my ZX250 because it's a fine fishing machine. Are there screws under my rub rail on my Bass Cat boat?
No screws. No, what you would know as sheet metal screws or wood screws. None. It's done with a special aluminum rivet that's a long grip range, and the majority of it is rivets. But in the side areas where there's movement, we go about every 2-3 foot and we put a machine screw and a nylon nut on the back side. So it's just like that basically, and it's got a size number 20 or number 10 machine screws through the side. It's number 10, and it runs right through there. And then you've got a machine screw with a square drive head and a Nylox nut on the back side. And every 30 inches or so, really, we try to grab it up through the rod box where we can get a hold of it and bolt that all together. So the rivets are holding the rub rail primarily, and they will slide out over time.
But I'm not getting the flex of the screws backing out from the hull and the cap tied together, which is what makes those things pop out.
And the deck's actually mounted with an Abdel steel core rivet. So when we level those decks, we come in about every 4 foot and set a steel core rivet in there. And that's what primarily holds it till we get the fasteners on it. And then once we get the fasteners, of course, now the deck's all glassed as one piece, so you're not moving it. In some brands you've had in the past, the deck's not fastened to the hull.
Say again?
The deck's not fastened to the hull. It's not glassed down inside.
Okay.
They actually don't glass the deck to the hull in places. So the hull and deck are almost separate. So it's that thing you were talking about to a repair shop. They can go in, take the areas that there is a little glass and cut it, pop the top off. Yeah, Brian Dial used to build Kingfisher boats.
Yeah, I remember Kingfisher.
Yeah, Brian told me one time he had started over there in Texas a repair shop after Kingfisher, after it went away. And so he was doing repair work. He said, "You can't take this deck off." I said, "No." He said, "I'm going to take one off." He said, "I'm going to build an apparatus to take it off." I said, "Well, Brian, you got your hands full."
Sound like a circular saw.
And so he built an apparatus like a Kansas Jack frame rail in the floor, where he had tie downs in the floor, and built a complete steel beam to take the deck off. Built a complete, reinforced it where it would hold the deck, and he could fasten the deck to it, and so he would basically try to pull this off. So about a year later, I see Brian at a show or something, and he says, "You're right, but you're wrong." He said, "You can take them apart." He said, "But there ain't no way in H I'm doing it again." He said, "It was more work." He said, "Why do you put a boat together like that?" I said, "So they don't break, Brian." Yeah. He said, "Well, it's truly the best built boat I've ever had my hands on." So, and that's from a boat builder.
Yeah. Well, and again, look, everybody I talk to, because I talk to boat owners, boat manufacturers, and boat reps, right? Every one of them was the best built boat, and here's why. But the 6 fiberglass guys I talked to had no dog in this hunt. And that's why I went to them. That was probably one of the smartest things I did in this whole review process, is go talk to the guys whose job every single day it is to cut boats open, put them back together, because we can tear up anything. I mean, we really can.
We're an Owens Corning test center for Owens Corning fiberglass.
Yeah.
So when Owens Corning builds a new product, we run it. And they bring in every time.
So they know you can break stuff.
They know we can build it right.
Yeah.
And they can get a test sample here.
Interesting.
And so This is the first time we haven't run Owens Corning fiberglass solely, and the reason is because of the present shortage of glass. So we are getting a 70% allocation on glass, and we're buying 30% wherever we can get our hands on it.
Yeah, so by the way, we took a break and you were worried about your glass out there.
Oh yeah, we had to buy, we found a few balls of Chinese glass, and you got to get it or we just don't build boats. And right now, you know the demand for boats.
Yes, it's through, I mean, build times are ridiculous right
Build
now.
times are ridiculous.
Yeah. So I'm just curious, what is your fastest model with a 250 on it?
Yara.
It is a Yara.
Yeah, it'll carry a load better than the others do. Empty, you can make them all run, but the Yara's got more potential. And we've actually got that hull governed.
Meaning?
It's slowed down.
Because it's so fast.
It's bad fast if you want to pull the governor, but then most people couldn't drive it because it's just that good. It's just,
well, and that's the thing I've learned doing these prop videos is just how little stuff's in the water when you really got them up flying like that.
Oh yeah, there's not a lot moving there. It's just a lot of things held together by short pieces.
Yeah. I guess the one question we haven't covered that I'm really interested in is, can I see my boat?
I think we can here in a bit.
I'd like to go see my boat.
We've had that here in a bit thing going on.
I have been here over 3 hours and I ain't seen my boat yet, guys. I'm ready. Let's go. Let's go see what they built for me.
You think we get anybody to film that excitement?
Yeah. You know, it's funny you say that. So I've got a lot of guys who have asked me privately what I picked, and I've told two. I've told Dickie and I told the guy who bought my boat. And several guys said, why didn't you get this one, or why didn't you get that one, or why didn't you get that one? And I talked about on the way up here, and I think I've told you, I narrowed this down to 3 boats. You guys, Blazer, which surprised a lot of people, it's a small boat manufacturer, and Phoenix. This was the only boat I was excited about.
That's good.
But I'm 58 years old. I've bought and sold a bunch of boats. But as I kind of went through that, and actually my wife Sarah asked me that. She said, because I was struggling with it a little bit, and I was really leaning this way because of Quest.
Good program.
It's a good program because you were engaged in this process with me and you were interested in feedback.
Really tried to stay out of the middle of it.
And let me say, guys, that's a really good point. 2 things. You chastised me for having a rep on one, and it was really good feedback to me because, and you didn't chastise me, but you said, I think you said, I wish you hadn't done that.
I did.
But I thought that was great feedback because everything else had been about what I saw versus a guy saying, look at this, right? So I kind of backed away from that process and said, I really don't want to do that again. I like doing it with a boat owner, especially a boat owner that I trust that ain't going to be, this is the best boat I've ever had. And by the way, guys, thank you for everybody who let me use their boat, because every single one of them said, yeah, I don't like that about my boat.
Everybody had an opinion, and you really did a good job on all the videos.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And you paid me a huge compliment about being non-biased and from you said it'd been a long time since somebody had really gone through boats and done that. And I never, when I started this process, I never would have believed I'd be sitting here today. I really thought Bass Cat was a go fast skinny boat. I really did. And so, you know, Jared and I talked on the way up here. Most guys buy bass boats because of what their buddy runs.
Yeah, we did a shoot. Well, it was actually a OEM announcement on a new product with an engine company, and I won't say the engine company, but we showed up with a boat, and of course today they can flash them and make them whatever they want them to be. And so they ran the boats, and we were exceptionally fast. So that night they hooked them all and weighed them all, and we were the heaviest. And now they're really wondering what's going on.
Yeah. And that again, back to that feel. You know, when I got, and I'm excited. I've never gone fast in a boat. Now I know for a bunch of you Bass Cat guys, 74, 75 miles an hour is not fast. That's fast for me, and it's fast for me. I'm probably at your age, right? How old are you?
22. Jackson's 22 over there. At 22, 75 is probably not that fast.
Actually,
But
Jackson doesn't run that hard.
I don't get to run that hard.
But, and y'all that couldn't hear him, he said, I don't get to run that hard. But I was excited about going fast. I mean, it's fun to me, and it's exhilarating. But this is the only one that I got excited about. And that's when Sarah said, well, I think you just answered your own question right there.
Well, that's good. We're glad to have you here.
Well, and I'll also say I was concerned about resale.
That's a valid point.
And
we'll discuss that more off camera.
Okay. And I mean, that's a big deal, right? I mean, these things are not cheap.
No.
My electronics on this boat cost more than my first 2 boats.
The electronics. I mean, we've done $25,000 in electronics.
Easy.
Yep.
So, I mean,
And
trolling
so it's
motor's
not hard.
$3,000.
Well, and I've been on that pattern for 20 years, wanting somebody to build a $3,000 trolling motor. The trolling motor companies all thought I was crazy. How you reckon they feel now?
We should have done it a few years ago. Yeah, no doubt.
Well, we did the first one with Minn Kota, and those guys were great to work with, and that was a good project, and there's more coming.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Look, I always think back to somebody asked Jack Nicklaus, what's the biggest improvement in golf technology in the last 30 years?
Oh, I like this one.
And you know what he said? The lawnmower. Think about that. They hit golf balls 100 yards further than they used to, and he said, the lawnmowers are so much better now, the greens are smoother, and he had the rates of what the pros in the 70s made. They made 22% of 5-footers, and now they make 74% or whatever the number was.
Yeah, it was amazing.
It's amazing, and so you kind of start backing away from it and going, okay, well, how many fish would I have caught had I had spot lock 10 years ago?
Well, the best answer to that question is it hasn't happened yet.
Do you think there's something better coming?
Always something better.
Good gosh. I'm catching fish that I see chasing bait in front of my boat.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's crazy.
And it's only going to get better.
It's crazy what I'll spend to do that.
Well, then that's definitely changing. Technology's changing the way we fish. I had an old-time pro that you would know his name. That's not one of ours. And he took one of the new college anglers out fishing.
He learned a little bit, didn't he?
No, he said the most frustrating part of his day is he'd pull up to a bank and want to fish this 75-yard stretch of bank. The young man with him would not fish unless he saw one. So it's just changing the way people think. And so we're seeing that this time of year differently, because now we've got them going to spawn, post-spawn, and now people are going back, and now you can pull up to a bank and catch 20, And now the spotlight guys and the live scope guys are going in the rears to some of the guys that can just fish.
Yeah.
So
there is something to be said. So one of my biggest stringers on Rayburn ever, I was over the top of the fish, and they were so tight to the bottom I couldn't see them on down imaging.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still a lot to, I mean, there's a guy on Rayburn who's been incredibly dominant. You guys know who it is, Derek. And he's looking at him when he's catching him with a big crankbait. And Danny and Brian are doing the same thing. They're looking
Danny
at
and Brian are doing the same thing, but
at
Danny
those
and Brian are pretty tight anyway.
Well, and look, they're not going somewhere where they think there might be fish.
No.
There might be a 9-pounder. No, they're going where they know.
They know, they've lived it.
And back to what we've all talked about. There's no substitute for time on the water.
Danny's my boy's buddy, running buddy. So
Boys can catch them. So
boys can catch them.
all right, I want to go see a boat.
Let's go do it.
Okay, so as I said, next week we got factory tour with Bass Cat, a bunch of other fun stuff coming. We are going to go up for the Bass Cat dealer meeting in July, so get to see some new products coming out, and we'll share those with y'all. That'll be third week of July, so we'll have videos up right after that showing you the new stuff and some other stuff from the factory. So if you have questions for Bass Cat or for Rick, please let me know, and I'll make sure and get them covered while we're up there doing the dealer meeting. Sorry, lost my train of thought there. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see y'all next week with more good stuff from Ken Smith Fishing. Thanks.
Hey guys, Ryan Williams here at Ross Motorsports in Lufkin, Texas, the #1 Bass Cat dealer in the nation. I'm sitting in front of a brand new arrival.
Hey,
So
Ryan. Hey, dude, I just heard. Do you know anything about this tournament that's coming? It's going to be like the first weekend of February. $100,000 is guaranteed first place. Bass Cat's supposed to be giving a boat away. Have you heard anything about that?
I've heard about it, and I'm going to be there.
I heard about it. I'll be there.
I'll be there.
I've heard about it. I'll be there.
Hey, baby, I just got a text. There's a big tournament at Rayburn in February.
Is it Valentine's Day?
No, it's the weekend before, first weekend.
Another tournament?
Basket's involved.
Okay.
Ross Motorsports is involved.
Okay.
It's a charity thing.
Likely story.
No, it's also $100,000.
We'll be there.
We'll be there.
I heard about it, and I'll be there.
I heard about it, and I'm going to be there. Hey guys, Ed Whaley here. Yes, I just heard about it. I'm super excited, and I will be there. Look forward to seeing you. Thanks.
Hey, I'm Rick Pierce. I'm standing in front of some 22 product here we're getting ready to go out with. And I just want to say I hope you guys are down there at Sam Rayburn. That charity event we got going on that Ross Motorsports is helping out with, we're helping out with. A guy named Brandon Belt's helping out with. And we got Fishing and Men coming in to do the weigh-in. We hope we have a good event. We hope to see you there.
Do you want to win $100,000 in February? You want to win a brand new Bass Cat? Well, we're about to make that happen. I'll be there.